Well, hey everyone, we're back. It's Connie Fife. And as promised, I was able to wrangle our Hollywood redneck, Kevin E. West, to join us. Kevin is on our label here at Talent Concierge. He is the communication entrepreneur.
Oh,
And he's, with all of what's going on with the coronavirus, he was actually on a shoot, and he's been recording, and I had to zip him on a plane and get him back to LA before he got in lockdown. And Kevin, I saw that you were recording last night on your street in LA that was completely like barren. There's like absolutely no one hanging out on the street. Like, when does that happen in LA?
I think I could literally actually hear crickets. And it was, the key though, is it was at 9:30 at night. If it was 3:30 in the morning, fine. But it was, I could hear crickets at 9:30 at night. It was very, very, very surreal, for sure.
Yeah, like that just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, like you said, just so surreal. I mean, you've been in the industry now for 30 some years.
Oh, let's just go with 3 decades, yeah, because anything past that starts to feel painful. Yes.
Okay, all right, 3 decades.
I almost got quarantined with the cows in South Carolina. It was very close.
Yeah, well, you're the Hollywood redneck, so you're from Nashville, so
Rural Nashville.
But did you feel at home?
Oh yeah, I'm comfortable in the middle of nowhere near some sort of a lake with mosquitoes. Yes,
right.
Or lightning bugs, either one. Yes.
Well, let's give a little pitch for your book, though. I know you have a couple books out, but you have your latest book out, Politics, Life in a Word, Politics. So,
politics in a word. Kevin's Dictionary, politics in a word. Yes.
In a word. Yeah. So we'll give a little pitch for that when you have out, and I know that. Right now, you would have been with me. We would have been together,
Yes.
Doing a bit of a book tour and a book signing on that in Baltimore.
Yes, my other personality is actually at LAX getting on the plane right now.
You're right.
That my other personality is going to take off in 2 hours. Yes.
Right. And as they're texting you, and your flight will be departing in.
It will, and I will not be on it.
Right.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, right. So communication, they're communicating to you that your flight is going to be taken off.
Yeah, they don't care.
I know they don't care. So I wanted to bring you on here, and I've been doing these video series, and you're part of our video series 3, and talking about on-camera presence, and we want to talk about breaking through the fourth wall. And I thought this is your space. This is exactly everything that you do, and you were founder of the Actors Network and television personality. And I'm going to turn it over to you really to talk about this. But why don't you start by sharing what is on-camera presence, and why is that important for a speaker?
Well, I obviously, when you were going to speak on camera, everything kind of matters to a degree. Depends on the situation, the scenario, of course. But I would actually say that a lot of times on-camera presence is actually on-camera awareness. One of the key elements, certainly if you're talking about doing scripted dialogue, which does not apply in this conversation, you have to have an awareness with regards to your physical body and how your physical body is being, standing, etc., just for the standpoint of being in focus, because everything that's shot on camera is done with a particular type of lens and with a focus range. So if you're not aware of that, or more notably unaware of it, you're liable to actually move in a way that puts you out of focus. Now, that doesn't apply to this conversation, Connie. When you talk about on-camera presence for what we do, the most important thing I want to start out by saying is that we have to have 2 different conversations, and they both have certain bullet points that are associated with each one. The first one, of course, is what we spend most of our time talking about, which is when you're either speaking in public or you're speaking on a stage in a much broader scenario, whether it's a theater or whether it's some riser somebody set up in a conference room. It doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. But if there are cameras in the room, it doesn't matter to me, because I would look at speaking in public as I would pick out 3 people, center, left, right, who were in the audience, and to me, their eyeballs are the camera. So whether there are 3 cameras on you, 2 cameras on you, 1 camera on you, speaking in public is very different than, which I know you do because you do this with your clients when they finish speaking, is you interview them.
Right.
So having an on-camera presence, being interviewed by one person or two people, pretending maybe it's a magazine show, right? If you wind up on some sort of a network morning show or something, and there are people on each side of you, or you're on a panel, the on-camera presence for whether you're being interviewed or on a panel versus being on stage kind of involve a couple of different things. And that's part of what I wanted to chat with you about this morning, was just a couple of different bullet points related to those two different forms of perhaps being on camera.
So that's really, really interesting, because we do work with a lot of people, and initially, they come, they want to be a speaker. They want to be a world-class speaker. And then we talk about, okay, well, we need a video from you. And you put a camera in front of them and they just freeze. Or they get in front of a camera and they're all, the arms are like this and they're all over the place and they're not looking at the camera. They're talking, yeah, let me tell you what's going on, and they're not looking at the camera. So what is your best advice for someone to start getting comfortable in front of that frame, in front of that camera, and saying, okay, this is where you need to talk and this is where you need to have the conversation, so you're engaging the person on the other side of that screen? What's your best advice for that?
Well, I've got a couple of points on just the concept of speaking on stage. So this actually comes from my former acting coach, and it's valid. It sounds silly, but it isn't silly. Not only from the standpoint of nerves, but he would always use the phrase, relax your shoulders. Now, there's a difference in taking an inhale and an exhale.
Mm-hmm.
And even what you just did, like adjusting your shoulders, you can still walk out with your shoulders back in a very confident fashion and yet still have your shoulders relaxed. When you can think in your brain you've relaxed yourself, but you may not realize your shoulders are still someone wouldn't even notice that your shoulders were tense. So just the concept, before you walk out on stage, just actually feel your shoulders drop. It doesn't mean they aren't pulled back, but just that they drop. It's a form of actually realizing your body is far more relaxed than you may think it is. So that's an easy point to make.
And I do catch myself doing that. And even before I go on camera, I will do that. And I'll just
let them drop, because if anyone takes yoga, it's just a form. It adds to what we would call the metaphorical exhale before you walk out on stage.